Okay, yesterday it snowed and this afternoon it's starting to melt off, so I wanted to go take a walk in the coulees a couple of blocks away from my house, and I'm out to look for a few things in particular, but also whatever it is I happen to find. I've brought my inspection scope with me, which is a new tool, and what it does is it's made for auto mechanics actually, and plumbers and the like. But it's a tool where you got a little flexible scope that you can put into dark little crannies and stuff. So what I was hoping to do is check out at least one of the rattlesnake hibernaculas and see if I can see them down in there in their hibernating state. But I also wanted to be on the lookout for coyote tracks, and if I find some, might do a little bit of trailing and see if we can find the coyote den, because I know that there's at least one pack of coyotes, and probably more, living in the coulee by my house here. I hear them sometimes at night, and I never have found an active den. I found some of the older dens that have already been abandoned, but they seem to conceal active dens in some way. So with the snow, I'm hoping I can find some tracks and just follow them, and then of course whatever else we encounter. So let's take a walk. Show you my neighborhood here. This is just down the alley behind my house, and it's really only 2 blocks at most to get to the coulee rim overlooking the Old Man River. So that was 1 block, my block. We'll go down the next alley. Yeah, so here we are, basically on the edge of the coulee, and some kids over here sledding, doing some sled stuff. We got some massive steep slopes for the brave kids when there's enough snowpack, which there really isn't today. Anyway, I'm just going to follow this trail out to one of the areas where I want to go. Yeah, I haven't really gone far at all from where these kids are playing. I already found some tracks coming from under this fence, and coming and going from under this fence. And what these tracks are is so far all of them that I see are the tracks of white-tailed jackrabbits, which is our larger local rabbit. So coyotes love to go after those rabbits. Alright, so here again we got jackrabbit tracks, but we also got something else going on here. Along with the jackrabbit, we got this other trail, and this is different. This is different, and I believe, I suspect highly that this is coyote, although it could be somebody's domestic dog. It's hard to tell because this is really powdery snow, and the actual nice impression is not left. Very powdery snow. On the other hand, looking at like this here, this actually looks jackrabbitish again. Here we go, jackrabbit. So, alright, so this is not coyote. This is I think this is a large jackrabbit. Even this trail. And it just happened that at one point the way he was walking looked very coyote-ish. But if you see the two rear feet like that with the four front paws like that, that's rabbit track. So there's a big dog, one of these neighborhood dogs. This thing with the kicks of this another big dog, and so on. More rabbit tracks. This looks like a smaller rabbit, or he's just not as swiftly on the move. Alright, so we'll see what else we come into. This house here was one of the houses I worked at over the summer. They had a rattlesnake under their driveway, and living there, and they were in real danger of that rattlesnake drawing other snakes to breed. And so I advised her or these guys to build this wire mesh, install this wire mesh on the bottom of their fencing, so their dogs who stay there would not get bit by any rattlesnakes coming around. But as it turns out, they didn't get it done right away, and wasn't able to, or we did catch the snake living under the drive pad, but all the same the pheromones were around, so they didn't get the thing done right away. And sure enough, less than a week had passed, and one of their dogs, their older dog, got bit by a rattlesnake. And then the dog lived, but they quickly then put up the suggested wire fencing to keep the snakes out of their yard. So it's real easy here to kind of barricade yourself against the snakes. I mean, these you see here, this is pretty much out here. This is pretty much wilderness for quite a ways, right? And these houses are coming right up against the edge here, and there's going to be encounters. There's going to be encounters with coyotes. There's going to be encounters with rattlesnakes, possibly cougars. Once in a while we get a bear come through here. There's all different kind of animals, and but it is, I think, relatively easy to coexist, if you're willing to be just smart about it. And if you're going to have dogs like that, you should put up some wire so that the dogs aren't going to get bit. It's got to be a real fine wire, that real fine chicken wire that has the square holes about 3/8 of an inch. You get something on there with bigger holes, and the snakes get caught up in there like gill nets, and strangle, and it's a really ugly sight. I had to rescue some snakes from that kind of situation this last summer too. Any case, they got their snake fencing up. I was called back there one other time this summer to pick up a snake that was going along the outside of their fencing, but it was not able to get in. So kind of a success story, and then at the same time a dog did get bit, but either way, no snakes were harmed. That's my main thing. So there are some snake dens really close to that residence, and I'm headed to one of them right now. Rabbit sign galore. I always find it, well, it's not surprising, I suppose, but the same paths that I would naturally be drawn to follow are the paths that that a lot of the animals would take, like these rabbit tracks. There are some that a lot of animals will use the same path. These ones, these like ridge top paths are like that. A lot of animals will use them. And there is a coyote path. For sure. See that foot? That's a coyote foot. Going out this way. Alright, so we know where one coyote path is. I may come back to that if I don't see any more down this way where I'm going. Check it out, this kind of cool. I'm following down this way. And the rabbit tracks. And then makes a turn here. Here, the rabbit slept, or at least sat down to rest for a while before continuing on. And we're actually very close to where I want to be. This ridge here. Holes. See, there's one here. There's one here. They're kind of snow buried. The one that I'm interested in, here's another one here. Old badger holes. What I'm really interested in is before they went into hibernation, I saw them climbing into this hole. So I have brought with me a special tool. Courtesy of the City of Lethbridge. And this is it. DeWalt inspection scope. When I put the scope down there, I will be able to view the monitor here, and if I can see anything, so I'll take a picture of the snakes are down there, and whether I'll even see them. If I'm able to, that part will become part of this film. Okay. Alright, not too surprisingly, it seems that the rattlesnakes are very deep in there to where I can't see them, or at least from what I was seeing on the screen, I wasn't able to see them. So the inspection scope is good, but you know, for a certain range, I can get in there like a couple of feet, 2.5 feet maybe, and that's about as far as it goes. But you know, it may come in handy for other things that I encounter along the way, like if I see some rodent trail going into a hole or something like that, we can actually check it out. But as far as the snakes go, I wasn't able to see any that I could tell, although I'll look on my computer again tonight when I'm putting together this film. So let's go back up and follow those coyote tracks. Alright, here we are, area where the coyote tracks cut out. This stuff, these buildings over here are the University of Lethbridge, and I did notice something down here that just sticks out as a little bit odd for me. Right there, I don't know what that is, but I want to check it out. I noticed that the south-facing slope of this coulee ridge, most of the snow has already evaporated off of it or melted off. So I don't know how far we'll be able to follow these tracks. Same goes for this slope on the south facing, as compared to the north facing slopes. They're all white still. So anyhow, gonna follow along and see where this guy takes us. Alright, so still following the trail of the coyote, and now we got multiple dogs coming along. I've come across my first other sign, a confirmation about who this is. It's a big pile of coyote dung, and it's got a lot of whitish fur in there. I wonder if maybe even been eating deer. Don't know if you can see that. I do see a good candidate for a possible coyote den on the south slope here. See that mound? That mound of dirt right above the skunk brush? That suggests that there's at least an old den there, if not a current one. But I will continue my tracking, see where it takes me. Alright, I took a little shortcut. I noticed that the tracks over there start going up the hill again. I wanted to come see what this den was like, so I cut down through a natural draw area in these choke cherries, come back up this way, and I find there's actually more tracks leading toward that suspected den site. Really hard to continue the track in here because, like I said, there's not as much snow, but there's enough to kind of, look at that, there's enough to kind of keep things going, at least so far. But I'm at the low point as yet on the slope. A little further up, doesn't look like there's much snow. So we'll see where this takes us. Alright, I have lost the trail, but I am closing in on the suspected den site, which would be right over here. But I wanted to show you this. This is skunk brush sumac, and I don't know if you can see, but some of the bark off of this sumac plant has been stripped in places. Let me see if I can zoom in and give you an example. See right here, these three, those are stripped raw of their bark, and the one who does this is the porcupine. And so porcupine has been visiting. I spent some time in this skunk brush. Doesn't look terribly recent. So, but in any case, just something to know. Come across that and you're wondering what the heck's going on. That's a porcupine. So over here now, let's go make our way over to the what looks like it very well could be a den. This would be a good place actually, because the neighborhoods are out beyond that slope. There's really nothing up this slope. The University of Lethbridge is a ways over to the north, and so this is one of the isolated coulees where you're not going to have people walking their dogs and crap. So if I was a coyote, I would think this would be a good place to be. And south facing slope, so it's getting lots of sunshine, as you can see. And I would say this is it. I would say, look at this. You have definitely a nice den here. I think there's even an upper entrance. There is another hole up here, but no sign up here of use. But there is definitely a sign down here. You can see the slides where they're coming in and out. So it just snowed last night, so something has come in and out of that den since last night, and I'd say that's a coyote. Now, am I going to stick my my inspection scope down the hole at this coyote? I don't think so. End up getting coyote attack, but that's pretty cool. So we found it where it was, and so now I know at least where one of the dens are. South facing slope, just north of the Riverstone neighborhoods, and I'm going to continue on my way. But yeah, it's definitely being used. You can see this. Look at the trail coming up through the grass here, and this is a coyote den. So that's cool. Actually, I'm going to leave something for this coyote. I brought something he'll like. Look at this, hey? Bison pepperoni. This is all local. I brought it for me to snack on. However, if you look at the best before date, it's 27th of September. We're now in November, so this is not supposed to be in its best condition. I'm still going to eat it, but I'm going to give a piece to Mr. Coyote, or Mrs. Coyote, whatever the case may be, or the whole family. It just slid right in. There we go. Offering to the coyotes. Making my way down to the river. It looks like it's going to be a little bit difficult. I'm going to have to go right through the brush here. This brush is a combination of silverberry and chokecherry from what I'm seeing. I just scared a female pheasant off the side of this slope. Well, she scared me, I should say. She knew I was there. I didn't know she was there, and then she did the usual prairie chicken blast out from the grass, startling you so that you can't get to her. Oh yeah, this is going to be fun. But I will go through it anyway and get myself down to the river. Yeah, quite a challenge. Well, it's taken no small amount of effort to get through the brush channel to access the Old Man River, but here I am, and the river is just looking awesome in its kind of mid frozen state. It's on its way to becoming a frozen river. We are a quarter of the way into the moon when the rivers all freeze over. And as you can see, that event is getting underway. The river is getting lots of ice on it, and kind of like a slushy river right now. And so it's definitely won't be too long before we start seeing the real ice over. In any case, I'm going to walk up that way a bit along the edge of the river, and then find my next access, next coulee up, to go back home. Yeah, by the way, I should note I did have some second thoughts about whether that was deer hair in the coyote poop. I think that was kind of a rash conclusion because it didn't really look like deer hair to me, but it was white. Now what I'm thinking is it's obviously the white-tailed jackrabbit hair. They've just turned more white, or at least the one that this coyote ate turned more white than one that I was photographing maybe a week ago, which was just beginning to turn color. So I am surprised that I haven't seen as yet any rodent signs, not even like a deer mouse or anything, or a western jumping mouse. So don't know what's going on there, but lots of rabbit and coyote still along the river here, coyote trail. So I don't think that's the only den, the one that came across, but it's nice to know where one den is, and now I have the opportunity. I could come out if I like, the right time of day or dusk dawn, and maybe photograph from one of the ridges, alternate the den. I could put a game cam out there, but I don't want to disturb them that badly. It's just cool to know where they're at, and I can kind of keep an eye on things. Yeah, you can just hear the river, this ice shifting along here. Quite something when it starts icing over like this. I always enjoy this time, and also when it starts breaking up and you got the huge icebergs floating down the river, I enjoy that as well. Yeah, I've spotted some ducks up ahead. I don't have my binoculars with me, but we do have this camera. I can't tell looking at the little screen here. Looks like a mallard head. I'd say that's a mallard couple. I was kind of hoping they'd be mergansers, but when he turned and gave us his profile, it definitely looks mallard. Alright, this is where the mallards are hanging out. Mallard couple right here. Confirmed. Definitely mallard. Mixicutsi they're called. And Blackfoot red legs. And mallards are actually really interesting duck. But before I get to their story there, I'll show you this. What's going on here. This is drainage coming out of the Riverstone neighborhood. I think there's any sewage involved here, but I think it's just the drainage. Oh, this is funny. I should take this thing. Yeah, I should bring a socket down here next time and take that thing just for a souvenir. But yeah, look at this. This is coming off. It's obviously warmer water, which is probably what drew the ducks over this way. But you got this really cool icicle formations going on. That's pretty neat. Lots of roots and stuff too. Lots of roots hanging down. That's really kind of cool, I think. The colored red roots and stuff. Kind of nasty old thing, but that's the way of it. This is our culture. Shit in the water. I'm gonna go down this way. Instead of cutting up right here, I'm going to go down this way and check on Shoreline Beaver Lodge. See how the beavers are doing. Not too far from the storm drain there. Found this really neat little alcove created by a couple of big boulders here. And the cut bank. And this is a nice little shelter here. There's another boulder there. If you were to throw a tarp or something over top of here, or even just some brush, you'd have a little cave. That'd be a nice little place to, if you want to sleep by the river. Of course I'm saying you when I mean me. Just thinking ahead, just thinking ahead. I just thought I'd point this out as I'm passing. On the other side of the river, you can see this, it's like a pile of brush along the bank here. That is food storage for another beaver. There's a beaver lodge in that bank. So it's not the one I'm looking for on my side, but it's a relative right across the river. Wow, I'm shocked. The Shoreline Lodge from my side of the river is no longer in existence. This was the site of it here. Well, it's still there. I mean, the lodge is still left remaining. This is one of the ventilation sub-access holes to the lodge. But there's no food cache, and it's not built out anymore. The floods must have taken out in the summer, and that gives you some idea of how very infrequently I happen to walk all the way down to the river by my own house as compared to other places I visit, like the pond. I didn't even know that this beaver lodge was totally destroyed. We do have the one over here. This is a big one. Big food cache there. We also have another one just across the stream over this way, but it doesn't look to be occupied either, I don't think. Well, there's a pile of... Nah, that's the old lodge, that's not a food cache. So really the only one now with the active food cache is this one down here. So that's the only one beavers are living in. This nice deep hole that they created here by my side, and they've only lived here, I think they occupied this house maybe 2.5 years or so, not too long. As you can see, at least in the evening time, it is the side that gets cooler faster. Then over here you get a little bit more warmth lasting in. I don't know if that makes a difference to them. But yeah, I'm kind of sorry to see that these guys were wiped out. And so there's no beavers on this side to be paying any attention to. In any case, I have an access route up this ridge here. I'm going to take it and start making my way back that way. But I'm going to check this slope over here too, and look for potential coyote dens on the south facing slope of this next coulee I'm going up. I do seem to be following along another coyote trail to start making my way upward, and don't know if it'll lead me to a den or not, but far enough from the first den I found, I wouldn't be surprised at all to find a den in this coulee draw as well. So we'll see. Alright, so I'm a little ways up the coulee. Still got quite a ways to go. I have found another den here, an old coyote den. This one is not active. As far as I can tell, not active. Only one who's been here has been the magpie. Yeah, I didn't find any other coyote dens other than that inactive one. In the second coulee I climbed. I'll tell you a little story though about this coulee and the coyotes. I was out here one night, I think about at least 2, maybe 3 years ago. I was out late at night, past midnight. Probably just shouldn't say what I was doing, but suffice to say that it was late at night, and I sat on the edge of the coulee rim because I know that deer, the mule deer, come up, and I was waiting to see some mule deer come up. And instead of a mule deer, what happened was this coyote came up underneath me and sat there, maybe about 50 meters below me, maybe 50 meters, maybe less. I thought it was pretty bizarre, because normally these coyotes are pretty scared. Was sitting there. So I got up and I walked down the slope a little ways toward her. still just kept sitting there. And I thought, this is really weird. So I closed the gap close to half the distance, and she was still sitting there. And then this little voice somewhere in my subconscious tells me, hey man, what if she's just trying to what if she's just a decoy? What if someone else is sneaking up on you right now? And as soon as I thought that, I turn around and climb back up to the top of the coulee ridge. And as soon as I got up over the ridge, there was another coyote right there, not maybe 5 feet, 6 feet from me. And of course, it didn't expect me to come up on it like that. So it freaked out, made a run for it, just scattered. And but then I knew, oh yeah, these guys are hunting me. So I started walking back to the suburbia, and on my walk back, you know, every few minutes or whatever, I would turn around and flash my headlamp behind me, and they'd be there. The coyotes would be there, you'd just catch sight of them, and then they'd dart off the side of the path I was taking. So yeah, that was kind of a harrowing experience. I don't think it's a normal thing that coyotes would hunt people, but this was the middle of winter. It was cold. I was really bundled up and overexerting myself, breathing way heavier even than I think I am now. And these coyotes were probably very hungry. So it was maybe a close call, I don't know. I don't think it's normal. I don't fear the coyotes. If I was afraid of coyotes, I wouldn't be going up, you know, peeking at their dens like I did, like you just saw. But, you know, stranger things happen. I know the coyotes have taken down deer, maybe injured deer. On occasion here in Lethbridge, somebody walking a dog will get surrounded by a pack of coyotes and might get a bite, something like that. But coyotes don't generally eat people. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that story. I'm just about back to the neighborhood here, so I don't think I'll have any more encounters. But that was fun. Now at least I know the condition of the river today and where one of the coyote dens is, and just get a sense of what's going on out here in my own backyard.